said, "Darling, I think he likes me." Mike stayed the night in his wife's room with their new baby, but as they were both sleeping, an unforeseen force came into the room that was about to change their lives forever when they both awoke. Morning came, and Samantha was discharged from the hospital in time for their new baby to be raised in their new home. It wasn't until after little Johnny turned 6 years of age that things around the Delaney estate turned deadly. The first sign was that Johnny had the mark of the beast was June 6th, then left the theater at 10:45, got in his car, and headed down Willow Road to do what Darren told him to do. As Jimmy was driving down Willow Road without his headlights on, a car was approaching, and the driver said, "That driver's going to run off the road or cause an accident." So the driver flashed his headlights at Jimmy's car, and as the driver passed by Jimmy's car, Jimmy turned on the car's headlights and rear-ended the driver in front of him, causing the driver to lose control of his vehicle and crash into a ditch. The Reverend was able to keep his secret hidden until he forgot to lock his soundproof room, and his wife opened the door and caught him in the act. She said in an angry voice, "What in the hell are you doing to that girl?" Her whole world was shattered, seeing the man she thought was like a god to her turn out to be the most evil man she ever met. Her husband turned around as blood was dripping down his chin and said, "Honey, I'm only doing this to get closer to God." Later that night, Henry entered the saloon looking for a few people who wouldn't be missed, that he could use as wax figures back at his wax museum. He hoped the townspeople would be set back at how lifelike his new wax figures now looked. Henry came up to Bill, who was easy prey, and said, "Bill, I need you to do me a favor at my wax museum." Henry filled up Bill's glass, and Bill gulped down the booze like he hadn't had a drink all day. Bill was a little too drunk to find his way to the wax museum, so Henry gave him the bottle of booze, told him to sit in the wagon, and he would make sure that they got there safe. A few hours later, Kathy awoke from a dripping noise, so she went into the kitchen and checked the faucet to see if it was dripping. And it was, so she shut it off and returned to bed, and reached down to feel her dog lick her hand so she would feel at ease. She fell back asleep. "Who do you think you're dealing with, son? I think you and your friend should hang side by side as I watch both of your bodies burn." Jimmy was crying and calling out to his friend to help him, but his friend decided to make a run for it, and as he was running, the marshal pointed his .30-30 Winchester at his back, and down went his friend. Jimmy was losing consciousness, and the marshal dragged Jimmy's friend to the gallows, put the noose around his neck, and pulled the rope high, and with a couple of jerking motions, Jimmy's friend was dead. Jimmy let loose of his grip, jerked a few times, and he was dead. I was traveling down Old Hatchet Trail Road after midnight when this beautiful woman with golden, long blonde hair was standing all alone on the side of the road. It was starting to rain, and I just couldn't leave her there in the black of the night. I just couldn't. So I stopped my car beside her and rolled down the front passenger window and said, "Please get in out of the rain, I'll take you home." And was greeted by a tour guide. The tour was very interesting and helpful, but Dan still wanted to know what happens when their loved one dies. Dan tapped the tour guide on the shoulder and said, "Could I ask you a question?" "Yeah, sure," replied the tour guide. "If someone dies, what happens to their body?" Then, all of a sudden, the bus started swerving, avoiding a collision with an animal crossing the bus's path. Dan lost his train of thought, so the tour guide didn't even get to answer his question. The bus pulled into the hotel where Dan would be staying the remainder of the week, while he decided one way or the other if he would remain on the island for the rest of his life.